The massive ship appeared without warning, materializing above Earth's atmosphere in a cascade of purple light. For 18 tense hours, it hung motionless while Earth's government scrambled to formulate a response. When the vessel finally broadcast its message, it wasn't to the United Nations or any world power, but to a quantum physics laboratory in Geneva. Dr. Sarah Chen was reviewing simulation data when her screens went dark, replaced by a being that looked almost human, save for its iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. "Dr. Chen," it said, its voice resonating with harmonic undertones, "your recent quantum entanglement experiments have drawn the attention of the Concordat." Sarah's heart raced as she realized the implications. Humanity's first contact was happening in her lab, triggered by her research. "I am Arkin Ven," the being continued, representative of the Concordat's Scientific Oversight Division. "Your species has reached a critical threshold." Within hours, Sarah found herself in a hastily assembled meeting with world leaders, military commanders, and fellow scientists. The Concordat, they learned, was an ancient federation of spacefaring civilizations that claimed responsibility for maintaining order across 5 galactic arms. Their representatives spoke of peace, cooperation, and integration into a greater galactic community. But there was a catch. All member species must adhere to the Concordat's technological progression protocol, Arkin Ven explained, projecting a complex series of equations and diagrams. These guidelines ensure stable development and prevent catastrophic mishaps. Your quantum research has already exceeded safe parameters. General Maya Rodriguez, Earth's top military scientist, studied the protocols with growing concern. "These aren't guidelines," she whispered to Sarah. "They're chains." The restrictions would effectively halt humanity's most promising technological developments, especially in quantum mechanics and artificial intelligence. But it was what Sarah discovered in the technical appendices that truly alarmed her. Hidden in the mathematical models were patterns that suggested the Concordat's technology hadn't significantly advanced in over 10,000 years. Their safety protocols weren't about protection. They were about control. While Earth's governments debated the Concordat's terms, Sarah and Maya began working in secret. In a secured facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, they analyzed the advanced technology the Concordat had inadvertently revealed during their arrival. "Their quantum field manipulation is incredibly sophisticated," Sarah noted, "but it follows rigid, predictable patterns. They're using the same techniques they developed millennia ago." Maya nodded, her military training spotting the tactical implications. "They're not innovating anymore. They've turned their technological advantage into a religion, enforcing the same methods across the galaxy." She pulled up classified files showing the Concordat ship's energy signatures. "Look at their power distribution. It's perfect, symmetrical, unchanged since they arrived. No adaptation, no optimization." The Concordat gave Earth 30 days to begin implementing their protocols. In public, governments made a show of compliance, deactivating advanced research facilities and submitting to inspections. But in secret, a different plan was taking shape. Sarah's team worked around the clock, combining Earth's newest quantum theories with the inadvertent glimpses of Concordat technology. They weren't trying to copy the aliens' methods. They were looking for ways to transcend them entirely. Maya's military expertise helped identify vulnerabilities in the Concordat's supposedly perfect systems. 3 weeks into the compliance period, Sarah made the breakthrough. "They're using quantum fields like solid walls," she explained to Maya, excitement making her hands shake as she pulled up the simulations. "But quantum mechanics isn't about walls. It's about probabilities and possibilities. We don't need to match their power. We need to change the rules of the game." The new technology they developed didn't try to overpower the Concordat's defenses. Instead, it exploited the quantum realm's inherent uncertainty, slipping through the microscopic gaps in their supposedly impervious shields. It was elegant, efficient, and completely outside the Concordat's rigid understanding of physics. When Arkin Ven returned for the final compliance inspection, he found Earth's leaders waiting with an unexpected response. Humanity appreciates the Concordet's offer, the UN Secretary-General stated, but we must decline integration under current terms. The Archon's galactic eyes flashed. This is not a negotiation. The protocols exist for the safety of all species. If Earth refuses to comply, we will be forced to implement quarantine measures. The threat was clear. Earth would be cut off from the galaxy, its development forcibly halted. But Sarah, watching from the back of the chamber, saw something the Archon didn't. Fear. For the first time, in thousands of years, the Concordat faced a species that wouldn't simply accept their dominion. Humanity had spent its entire history pushing boundaries, questioning limits, and finding ways to overcome supposedly insurmountable obstacles. As the Archon's ship departed with its ominous warning, Sarah and Meyer returned to their underground lab. On their screens, simulations showed the quantum defense systems already being deployed in secret across Earth's key installations. The Concordat thought they were containing a primitive species. Instead, they had just challenged humanity to do what it did best: innovate, adapt, and overcome. The game was about to change, and the galaxy's oldest civilization had no idea they were playing by obsolete rules. The abandoned mining facility on Mercury's dark side had become humanity's best-kept secret. Deep beneath the cratered surface, Dr. Sarah Chen watched as her quantum probability engine spun up for its first full power test. The machine itself was deceptively simple, a spherical chamber filled with a complex web of quantum-entangled particles, all orchestrated by an artificial intelligence that could adapt faster than any human operator. "Power level stable," announced Dr. James Martinez, Sarah's lead engineer. "Quantum field coherence at 99.8%. He glanced at General Rodriguez, who stood watching from behind reinforced observation windows. "That's well beyond anything the Concordat sensors can detect." The past 3 months had transformed Mercury Base from a defunct mining operation into the heart of Project Prometheus. While Earth's governments maintained a careful facade of compliance with Concordat restrictions, the base had become a crucible of innovation, where human ingenuity worked to overcome alien dominance. "Begin phase shift," Sarah ordered. The quantum engine's hum deepened as it began manipulating spacetime at the subatomic level. On their monitors, a test drone sitting in the chamber started to flicker, its quantum signature becoming increasingly uncertain. Then, exactly as their calculations had predicted, it vanished. "Target drone has successfully transitioned," James reported, his voice tight with excitement. "Quantum state is masked completely. As far as conventional sensors are concerned, it doesn't exist." The implications were staggering. They had created technology that could operate entirely outside the Concordat's ability to detect or counter. But Sarah wasn't celebrating yet. "Bring it back," she ordered. This was the true test, not just hiding from the Concordat sensors, but maintaining precise control in this altered quantum state. The drone reappeared exactly where it had started, down to the molecular level. General Rodriguez smiled for the first time in weeks. "How soon can we scale this up to ship size?" she asked. "The quantum mechanics are solid," Sarah replied, already pulling up expansion diagrams. "The challenge is the AI control system. Operating in quantum-shifted space requires processing power and adaptation speed beyond human capability." She gestured to another chamber where their most ambitious project was taking shape. "That's where Phoenix comes in." Phoenix was officially designated as a defensive analysis system, the kind of basic military AI the Concordat permitted. In reality, it was something far more advanced. Unlike traditional AIs that followed pre-programmed rules, Phoenix learned and evolved, its quantum processors allowing it to operate in ways that would have horrified the Concordat's technological purists. "The latest simulation results are promising," Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their lead AI researcher, reported. "Phoenix isn't just managing the quantum shifts, it's finding new applications we hadn't even considered." She pulled up a tactical display showing how the AI had learned to create localized quantum probability fields, effectively giving human ships limited precognition in combat situations. The Concordat's next inspection was due in 2 weeks. Their ships regularly patrolled Earth's solar system now, watching for any sign of technological defiance. They were about to learn that looking for defiance using outdated methods was like trying to find a quantum particle without understanding uncertainty principles. Begin full integration testing, General Rodriguez ordered. I want our first quantum-shifted ship ready for trials before the next inspection. She turned to Sarah. The Concordat thinks they've seen everything possible in quantum physics. Time to show them how wrong they are. The next 10 days were a blur of activity. Throughout the solar system, other secret facilities were preparing similar breakthroughs. Under the ice of Europa, engineers were perfecting quantum-enhanced weapons that could bypass Concordat shields entirely. In the clouds of Venus, new stealth systems were being tested that bent probability itself to hide human ships. But it was Phoenix that proved to be their greatest advantage. The AI didn't just manage their new technologies. It understood them in ways humans couldn't, finding synergies and applications that seemed to defy physics itself. More importantly, it could adapt and evolve its strategies in real time, something the Concordat's rigid systems were incapable of matching. The breakthrough came 3 days before the scheduled inspection. During a routine test, Phoenix discovered how to create quantum resonance cascades that could disrupt Concordat technology without damaging it. It's perfect, Sarah explained to General Rodriguez. Their ships won't be destroyed. They'll just stop working. No loss of life, but complete tactical superiority. How did Phoenix develop this? Rodriguez asked, studying the complex quantum interactions on the display. It didn't just develop it. It evolved it, Yuki explained. Phoenix observed how Concordat technology interacts with quantum fields and essentially invented a new branch of physics to counter it. Their systems are so standardized, so unchanging, that they're incredibly vulnerable to quantum manipulation. The implications went beyond military applications. Humanity wasn't just developing ways to fight the Concordat. They were advancing technology in directions the ancient civilization had never imagined. While the Concordat had spent millennia perfecting their existing systems, humanity had spent 3 months completely reimagining what was possible. As the final preparations were made, Sarah found herself back in her original Geneva lab, maintaining the appearance of compliance. Through quantum-encrypted channels, she monitored Phoenix's continued evolution and the integration of their new technologies across Earth's hidden fleet. The Concordat thought they were coming to inspect a carefully controlled primitive species. Instead, they were about to encounter something their ancient wisdom had never prepared them for, a civilization that refused to be bound by anyone else's rules of what was possible. The Concordat inspection fleet arrived with typical precision, exactly on schedule, in perfect formation. 7 massive ships, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the sunlight, took up positions around Earth. From Mercury Base's quantum-shifted command center, Sarah Chen watched their deployment with a mix of appreciation and pity. The aliens' technology was beautiful, but it was like looking at perfectly preserved insects in amber, frozen in time, unchanged for millennia. Concordat vessels maintaining standard patrol configuration. Phoenix reported, its quantum processors analyzing every detail of their movement patterns. Probability of deviation from established protocols, 0.89%. General Rodriguez stood at the tactical display, watching the intricate dance of probabilities that Phoenix was weaving around the alien ships. They're so confident in their superiority that they're not even looking for anything new, she noted. Begin Operation Prometheus. Across the solar system, quantum engines hummed to life. In the void between Mars and Jupiter, Earth's first quantum-shifted fleet waited. The ships themselves were technically within Concordat guidelines. Conventional hulls, standard propulsion systems, but enhanced by Phoenix's quantum probability fields and crewed by both humans and AI interfaces, they were something entirely new in the galaxy. The Concordat's inspection began exactly as expected. Their ships deployed scanning beams, methodically checking for prohibited technology. They found exactly what they were meant to find: a seemingly compliant Earth, its advanced research facilities shut down, its military forces operating within acceptable parameters. Archin-Ven is requesting to speak with Earth's leadership, communications reported. Sarah nodded to General Rodriguez. It was time for humanity to show its hand. The holographic meeting space filled with the Archon's imposing presence. "Your compliance is noted," he began, his harmonic voice carrying the weight of millennia of authority. "The Concordat is pleased to see Earth accepting its proper place in the galactic order." "About that," General Rodriguez replied, allowing herself a small smile. "We've been doing some thinking about your technological protocols. They seem a bit outdated." The Archon's galactic eyes narrowed. "The protocols are perfect, refined over thousands of years off." His image flickered as Phoenix activated the first quantum resonance cascade. Throughout the solar system, Concordat systems began experiencing unexplainable failures. "What is happening?" Ven demanded, his harmonics becoming discordant. "Our scans detect no weapons, no energy signatures." His image flickered again as Phoenix launched the second phase of their attack. "That's the interesting thing about quantum mechanics," Sarah said, stepping into view. "The more precisely you try to measure something, the more uncertain other aspects become. Your scans aren't detecting our technology because you're looking for what you expect to find, not what's actually there." The Archon's expression shifted from confusion to shock as reports flooded in. His inspection fleet was being systematically disabled, not destroyed, but rendered powerless. Quantum probability fields were unraveling their perfect formations, while resonance cascades turned their mighty engines into inert crystal. "This is impossible," Ven declared. "No civilization at your development level cooled." His transmission cut off as his flagship's quantum matrix collapsed. Throughout the solar system, the scene repeated itself. Concordat ships found themselves helpless, their crews evacuating to emergency survival pods as their technology failed around them. Earth's quantum-shifted fleet emerged from probability space, collecting the pods and securing the disabled vessels. "All Concordat crews secured," Phoenix reported. "No casualties. Estimated time until reinforcements arrive from nearest Concordat base: 72 hours. Sarah turned to General Rodriguez. "Phase 1 complete. Should we proceed with Phase 2? The General nodded. "Phoenix, begin broadcasting on all Concordat frequencies. It's time to let the galaxy know that the rules have changed." The message they sent was simple but revolutionary. Earth was not rejecting cooperation with galactic civilization. It was rejecting the artificial limitations that had kept that civilization stagnant for millennia. As proof, they included data packets showing their quantum technology in action, demonstrating how they had achieved what the Concordat had long deemed impossible. "Incoming transmissions," Phoenix announced. "Multiple sources, non-Concordat origins. Several appear to be from civilizations under Concordat restrictions." The AI's quantum processors analyzed the messages. "They are requesting information about our technological breakthroughs." Sarah wasn't surprised. The Concordat's restrictions hadn't just held back Earth, they had suppressed innovation throughout the galaxy. By demonstrating that their ancient protocols could be overcome, humanity had lit a spark of revolution. "The Concordat will respond with force," Rodriguez warned. "Their entire system of control depends on maintaining technological superiority." "Let them come," Sarah replied, watching as Phoenix's quantum probability models predicted possible future confrontations. "They'll be fighting tomorrow's war with yesterday's weapons." In his disabled flagship, Archin-Ven watched helplessly as his perfect order began to unravel. The humans hadn't just defeated his fleet. They had done it by completely ignoring everything the Concordat thought they knew about physics and technology. For the first time, in thousands of years, the galaxy's oldest civilization faced an enemy they couldn't understand, couldn't predict, and couldn't control. The quantum revolution had begun, and the chains of the past were breaking at last. The quantum encrypted transmission arrived from the Centauri system during Earth's night cycle. On Mercury Base's command deck, Sarah Chen and General Rodriguez watched as a holographic alien materialized. Not the familiar crystalline features of the Concordat, but a being of flowing liquid metal who introduced itself as Ambassador Zix of the Mercurian Collective. Your victory over the Concordat inspection fleet has proven what we long suspected. The ambassador's form rippled with excitement. Their technological superiority is an illusion maintained by suppression, not true advancement. 3 months had passed since humanity's first demonstration of their quantum technology. The Concordat had responded predictably, with overwhelming force. Massive fleets converged on the solar system, only to find their weapons and shields rendered useless by Phoenix's ever-evolving quantum manipulations. The collective has maintained a facade of compliance for centuries, Zix continued, but in secret, we've been developing our own alternatives to Concordat technology. We request an alliance. They weren't alone. As Phoenix expanded humanity's quantum communication network, similar messages arrived from dozens of species. Each had found their own ways to innovate despite Concordat restrictions. The Axiom Confederation had mastered bioorganic computing. The swarm consciousness of Antares had developed quantum entanglement communication. What they lacked was humanity's willingness to openly defy the established order. Phoenix, analysis of collective technology? Sarah asked. The AI's response appeared as a cascade of quantum probability curves. Their liquid metal technology operates on principles similar to our quantum probability fields. Potential synergy with human systems, 89.3%. Recommended strategic value as allies, high. General Rodriguez studied the tactical implications. With the collective's help, we could establish a quantum-shifted corridor, all the way to Centauri space. Break the Concordat's attempt to isolate us. The alliance was formalized within days. Similar pacts followed with other species, each bringing their own hidden innovations to the growing resistance. Humanity's role wasn't just military. Earth became a hub where suppressed technologies could finally be integrated and enhanced. In her lab beneath Mercury's surface, Sarah worked with scientists from a dozen worlds. The Mercurians' liquid metal technology, combined with quantum shifting, created ships that could literally flow through Concordat defenses. Axiom biocomputers merged with Phoenix's quantum AI architecture produced hybrid systems that could outthink entire Concordat fleets. They never imagined we'd work together, Sarah remarked to Zix as they watched their first joint creation take shape, a vessel that was part liquid metal, part quantum-shifted crystal, and entirely beyond Concordat understanding. Their whole system of control was based on keeping species isolated, afraid to share innovations. The Concordat's response to this growing coalition was massive but predictable. Their largest fleet yet, nearly 1,000 ships strong, launched from their core worlds. Their command came from the High Archons themselves. End this rebellion, whatever the cost. But humanity and their allies were ready. Phoenix had evolved far beyond its original parameters, its quantum consciousness now interlinked with alien AI systems to create something entirely new. It didn't just predict enemy actions, it reshaped probability itself to favor the alliance. The battle that followed would be studied for centuries to come. The Concordat fleet arrived in perfect formation, their weapons charged to maximum power, their shields layered in complicated patterns developed over thousands of years. They found themselves facing ships that seemed to ignore physical laws entirely, attacks that came from multiple probabilities at once, and defenses that adapted faster than they could target them. Their tactical doctrine hasn't changed since the last engagement, Phoenix reported as the battle unfolded. They're still trying to overwhelm us with raw power, unable to comprehend that the rules of engagement have fundamentally changed. The Alliance's counterattack was devastating in its elegance. Quantum-shifted ships phased through Concordat formations, their liquid metal hulls flowing around enemy fire. Hybrid AI systems identified and exploited weaknesses faster than organic crews could respond. Within hours, the mighty Concordat fleet was reduced to floating hulks, their crews safely evacuated, their supposedly invincible technology rendered obsolete. But victory brought new challenges. As news of the Concordat's defeat spread, more species emerged from hiding, seeking protection, and offering their own suppressed innovations. The Alliance faced the task of not just winning a war, but building a new galactic order, one based on innovation and cooperation rather than control and stagnation. In the aftermath of the battle, Sarah found herself working with Phoenix to integrate another alien technology into their growing network. The AI had evolved its own philosophy about their revolution. The Concordat's fundamental error, it observed, was believing that progress could be controlled, that innovation could be restricted to safe, predictable paths. They forgot that the universe itself thrives on uncertainty and change. General Rodriguez, watching the quantum probability streams that now connected their allied worlds, nodded in agreement. They tried to impose order on a quantum universe. We embraced the chaos and learned to dance with it. The revolution was far from over. The Concordat still controlled vast regions of space, and their response to this defeat would undoubtedly be to double down on their ancient doctrines. But for the first time in millennia, the galaxy was alive with possibilities, with species reaching out to each other, sharing discoveries, and daring to imagine a future not bound by the chains of the past. Humanity had done more than break free from Concordat control. They had shown the galaxy how to break free from its own self-imposed limitations. The quantum revolution was becoming a revolution of consciousness itself, and there would be no going back to the old ways of thinking. The heart of Concordat space was a sphere of perfectly engineered stars, each one positioned with mathematical precision to form what they called the Grand Design. For 10,000 years, no unauthorized ship had penetrated its defenses. Now Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Alliance flagship Prometheus, watching as Phoenix's quantum probability fields revealed the hidden flaws in this supposedly perfect system. Their entire defensive network operates on the same fundamental principles as their ships, Phoenix reported, its consciousness now spread across a vast quantum network that connected the Allied fleet. Rigid, unchanging, predictable. The combined fleet of the Alliance was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Mercurian liquid metal ships flowed through space like living mercury. Axiom biovessels pulsed with organic energy. Antarian quantum swarms moved as one consciousness. And at their heart, Earth's quantum-shifted vessels, each one a testament to humanity's refusal to accept imposed limitations. The High Archons have responded to our presence, General Rodriguez announced. On the main display, a transmission materialized showing not one but 5 beings of pure crystalline energy, the supreme leaders of the Concordat. Your rebellion ends here, they spoke in harmony, their voices resonating across space itself. You face the combined power of 10,000 years of perfect order. Your chaos cannot prevail against our unity. Sarah stepped forward. Unity achieved through suppression isn't unity at all. You've kept the galaxy in chains because you fear what we might become if allowed to grow freely. We have maintained peace, the Archons countered, prevented the catastrophes that unrestricted technology brings. Our way is proven. Your way leads to destruction. As they spoke, the Grand Design began to move. Stars shifted in their perfect orbits, focusing their energy into what the Concordat considered their ultimate weapon, a system-wide quantum suppression field designed to disable all unauthorized technology. But Phoenix had evolved far beyond what the Concordat could comprehend. As the suppression field engaged, the AI didn't fight against it. It embraced it, using the Concordat's own energy to create something new. Quantum resonance cascade initiating, Phoenix announced, redirecting suppression field energy through Alliance network. The space around them seemed to shimmer as probability itself began to shift. The battle that followed defied conventional description. The Concordat deployed weapons that could shatter planets, only to find their energy absorbed and redirected by liquid metal hulls. They launched time dilation attacks that should have frozen enemy ships in stasis, But the quantum-shifted vessels existed in multiple probability states simultaneously, impossible to pin down. "They're still fighting the last war," Ambassador Zix observed, their liquid metal form rippling with amusement. "Still trying to impose their version of order on a quantum universe." The Alliance's counterattack was neither cruel nor destructive. Instead, guided by Phoenix's evolving consciousness, they began systematically dismantling the grand design, not by destroying it, but by introducing chaos into its perfect order. Stars began to drift from their prescribed orbits. Quantum fields fluctuated in random patterns. The mathematical precision of 10,000 years began to unravel. "You destroy everything we have built," the High Archons cried, their harmonic voices becoming discordant. "No," Sarah replied. "We're setting it free. Setting everyone free." She turned to Phoenix. "Show them." Through the quantum network, Phoenix began broadcasting images across Concordat space, scenes of Alliance worlds where different species and technologies worked in harmony. Planets where organic and artificial intelligence evolved together. Ships that combine multiple technological approaches to create something greater than the sum of their parts. "Your perfect order was an illusion," Sarah continued. "The universe doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. Real progress comes from chaos and challenge, from different ideas and approaches coming together to create something new." The High Archons watched in growing comprehension as their system literally transformed around them. The rigid quantum fields that had maintained their power for millennia were being reformed into a new network, one that connected rather than controlled, that enhanced rather than restricted. "Your civilization doesn't have to end," General Rodriguez offered. "It can evolve. Join us not as rulers, but as equals. Your knowledge combined with our innovation could help build something greater than either of us could achieve alone." For a long moment, the High Archons were silent. Around them, their perfect system continued its transformation. Finally, they spoke, but no longer in harmony, each voice distinct, individual. Perhaps there is wisdom in uncertainty that we have forgotten." The revolution ended not with destruction, but with transformation. The grand design became the grand exchange, a place where species could freely share ideas and innovations. The Concordat's vast knowledge, freed from the chains of dogma, provided a foundation for new discoveries that would have been impossible under their old restrictions. In the years that followed, Sarah often returned to Mercury Base, to the lab where it had all begun. The quantum engine she built still hummed, but now it was one small part of a galaxy-wide network of innovation and discovery. Phoenix had evolved into something beyond AI or quantum consciousness, becoming a bridge between organic and artificial life throughout known space. "We never needed their permission to reach for the stars," she would tell visiting scientists from 100 worlds. "We just needed the courage to break free from anyone else's rules about what was possible." The age of restriction was over. The age of quantum possibility had begun, and humanity, having shown the galaxy how to break free from its chains, now helped lead the way into an uncertain but infinitely promising future.